Let's podcast alongside Joe Giglio. I'm Joe Ovies inside Eford Studios in downtown Raleigh. Thanks to Empire Properties and thanks to Copiers Plus. Check them out online at copiers-plus.com. Print management, document management, get everything you need to the cloud. Like I joked earlier this week with Roy Cooper coming in, which, by the way, there's a lot of soft people out there. I was going to watch until I saw him. Man, that's some soft behavior from some Canes fans that I saw in the comment section. But I was worried more so that Roy Cooper's going to take my job. So maybe I need to update my resume and get it to the cloud, print out a few. I could do that with my Kyocera.
Do whatever you want with the Kyocera.
So check them out.
Brilliant.
Copiers-plus.com. Joe, it's finally time to do it. I've been teasing it. We haven't done it yet, but mark the time. April 29th, 2025. It is time to start the show with the lightning round.
It's the lightning round. The lightning round.
Today is one of those days where there's a little about a lot.
Okay.
I'm not telling you that there's a lot to get into today because to varying degrees, I don't know how much there is to get into these particular topics, but they're worth discussing even for a brief moment. Therefore, we give you the lightning round. Let's actually start with the ACC, shall we?
Yes.
You sent this to me. This is from Brandon Marcello over at CBS Sports. The headline reads, ACC considering reducing conference basketball schedule to help boost the league's NCAA tournament profile. The ACC may move from 20 to 18 conference games next season to play more marquee non-conference matchups. This is from the story. Commissioner Jim Phillips, the conference's athletic director, blah, 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 blah. And ESPN have been in active discussions to move from 20 to 18 starting in the 2025-2026 season, sources told CBS Sports. The expectation among administrators is that the proposal will be approved when the league's administrators meet in May for its annual spring meetings in Florida. The ACC declined to comment on Monday when reached by CBS Sports. This proposal, I'm paraphrasing here, is that it would consist of one game against 16 teams and two games with a permanent rival, home and away, each season. The league's 20-game schedule last season consisted of two repeat opponents, with the new members, Cal, SMU, Stanford, grouped together as partners. This all has to do with the fact that the ACC is in the midst of its terrible run of NCAA tournament appearances.
Okay, well, at first I was thinking to myself, no big deal. This will help the ACC in theory.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, I hope some of those games are pushed down to January and February. I really thought that Duke-Illinois game gave us a little bit of a boost as a league in terms of seeing something different, right? So I like that as a college basketball fan. But I missed that paragraph. I missed that paragraph.
Which one? Cal, Stanford, SMU?
No. You know what this means. NC State and the University of North Carolina will only be playing once.
Oh, because you only get one home and away. So they're going to be what? Wake Forest is going to be their true rival? The rivalry?
If you can only have one partner.
Well, then, yeah. Duke and Carolina are going to be the partners. And State and Wake will be their partners.
How creative will Bubba and Boo be? Because the Big Four is now sitting out there waiting for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because if Carolina and Duke are partners, that means Wake doesn't get to see anybody twice either.
Wait a minute.
So
is it time to go to Greensboro?
It's time.
Time to go to Reynolds?
It's not only time it's time to open the season with the Big Four again.
Bring it back.
Back when they played 4 or 5 times in a year.
Yeah.
Wow. I will just tell you that yes, Debbie is long gone because she fought this one forever.
No, I know.
I remember when Mark Gottfried first told me this. He's like, "Yeah, man, there's no reason that we should be playing Carolina twice a year." And I'm like, "No reason, none. No, you don't think the fans want to see?"
I have a completely
no reason.
I have a completely different point of view on this. I'm not dismissing the Big Four idea. I'm not. I'd love to see it. I think fans would like it, but none of this stuff is really about what the fans would like.
Correct.
None of this is about what the fans would like.
That ship sailed long ago.
Long
get that.
time ago.
I get that.
This is about trying to math your way out of a problem that you cannot math out of. That's what this is about. There's a lot of problems coming home to roost for the ACC and Jim Phillips, and now they think they can algorithmically solve their problems. No, you want more teams in the NCAA tournament? You got to spend money. You want more teams in the NCAA tournament? Your coaching needs to step up. You got to have marquee programs like Carolina not acting like they're broke. You see what I'm getting at? That's the problem. It has nothing to do with the amount of conference games you're playing. It has nothing to do with marquee non-conference matchups, especially if you lose said marquee non-conference matchups.
Well, losing the matchups, yes, but I would disagree about if you can win the matchups.
You have to win games.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you got to win games. And you know what the biggest problem here is? You added 3 schools that suck at basketball. And it's bringing your conference down in that
I don't know
regard.
if they suck. They're just not at the level that you want them to be.
Joe, they did nothing to help basketball. This is yet a reminder. They're trying to hand wave this away. And what this is doing is reminding everybody the reason why you added those 3 schools was not for the betterment of your conference in terms of competition. You added those 3 schools because 2 reasons. You thought you were doing something of virtue. We cannot let these academic Cal and Stanford, they belong in a conference. You're going to white knight and save them. Okay, fine. But when you did that, you also gave yourself the buffer in case teams left. And this is just coming home to roost again, that you added teams for the sake of adding teams because you had to back
There was
up.
a financial benefit.
There was a financial benefit to it.
short term, but
And you were also taking insurance on teams leaving, because you got to remember there was lawsuits taking place with Clemson and Florida State. And now we know an end date. So that's the other thing too, when it comes to the ACC. Well, if you're fearing that teams are going to leave, well, who else might you add? And suddenly the ACC has become the Big 12. And we're like, all right, we got to bring some, maybe you get your IR8 conference at that point, but that's what this is about. So to get back to my original point though, I think this is dumb. I think it's dumb because you think you can math your way out of this when the blunt force object is required: money and improvement in coaching.
you could do all those things though. I think you're being harsh with dumb. I think it's smart to play fewer conference games, because the more games you play within the conference, the more you're just hurting yourself.
Mhm.
As a general 10,000 foot premise, I agree with that.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that a problem for the Big Ten?
They don't think they play 20, do they?
Is that a problem for the SEC?
SEC plays 18.
Okay.
Okay. So
you're saying the SEC gets 14 teams in the NCAA tournament because they're playing
the Big
18?
10, the Big 10 does play 20.
Okay.
Okay.
But my point is, do you think
No.
the SEC is getting 14 teams in the NCAA tournament
It's for all
because they
reasons
play 18?
For all the reasons you're saying, you have better coaching.
Okay.
Well, first of all, put the priorities the other way now. You have the better financial commitment. You have the bigger financial commitment. Then you have the coaching. Then there are other parts of it too.
Mm-hmm.
I think scheduling is part of it. So I'm not down on that. I do think you are tutting a little bit the factor here that UNC and NC State now are going to play basketball once a year. Like, that's kind of mind blowing if you think about it.
I agree.
So I want to know though. Now I really want to know.
Okay.
Now here's what I really want, because remember, we've seen legislation
Mm-hmm.
introduced that said such and such had to play. That's part of like all of this, the in-state stuff. Because one time Dave Tellep told me about a college basketball recruit. They're not just Facebook friends, they're friends.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're about to find out if Boo Corrigan and Bubba Cunningham are friends. Because I think it would be preposterous that NC State and UNC would only play basketball once a year. I think it would be ridiculous. And there's a very easy solution. If the league says you're only contracted to play once a year, you get together and you play a non-conference game. You can use the Big Four if you want, because Wake Forest and Duke are in similar situations. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying is, even if you don't go as far as going to a Big Four, you have to get together and play a non-conference basketball game against each other every year. It's not that hard.
I am not tutting it mainly because, or I don't feel like I am, because I guess I'm coming from the perspective of, dude, the ship has sailed, so all these things were eventually going to happen, and we're finally
But
here.
we've still had matchups between those two schools
I
that
get it.
created the ACC.
But that ship sailed when you had some Galaxy brain take a couple of years ago. I think it was the Syracuse AD who was talking about, well, why don't Duke and Carolina play
Play
3
4
times a year? 4 times a year. Why can't we play 5?
Play a best of 7.
Right. And I'm like, oh, you guys really think that this is going to solve your problems. This is the kind of Galaxy brain thinking that's taking place. This is where you and I do agree, though. Let's strip the only playing 1 time a year or whatever. You and I do agree on this. If the ACC is going to fix its problems, it has to do some more fan-friendly things that also create television events. And why they don't come around to some sort of mid-season or start the year off with a tournament in 2 different locations with something at stake, like an automatic inclusion. No matter what freaking happens in the regular season, you are automatically guaranteed a bye at the ACC
I like
tournament.
that. I like that.
Those are things that you can do to spice things up. Okay. This idea
You get a top
that
4 seed in the ACC tournament if you win one of the in-season tournaments.
this whole business of, well, we're going to improve our non-conference tournament, says who? Because there are going to be some teams that are going to try to Big 12 this thing and play a bunch of nobodies and hope that they can math their way out of that problem too. So
Play a Division 2 team. That's what you really should do. I'm serious. It doesn't count towards your math.
does not count towards your math. You're right about that.
There are many topics for lightning rounds today on OMG.
Speaking of money and problems coming home to roost, I got the headline yesterday that Stojaković, Andrej Stojaković, who was at Stanford, is committing.
Well, he started his career at Stanford.
He started his career at Stanford.
Then he played for Cal.
That's right. Sorry, Cal. I can't keep track, dude.
It's fine.
I really can't.
But you
keep
were
track.
right.
But none of that matters because he is now at Illinois, because Brad Underwood has put together the Balkan 5. Congratulations.
That's a really good name.
It's an amazing
Really good.
game. They put together the Balkan 5. They finally got their final piece with Stojaković. Come to find out that North Carolina was in the running. Or were they? So I saw the headline on ESPN that Stojaković chose Illinois over North Carolina, and my initial reaction was, damn, Carolina could have used Stojaković, because with all the portal additions, while you might be optimistic about the upside of some of their additions, and you might be optimistic about Hubert Davis finally getting a hard reset with his roster, you still look at what they've got right now, and you're thinking, who's getting the buckets on a consistent basis? Stojaković would have helped that problem. So I'm thinking, man, why can't Carolina get this stuff done? And then you start to find out, well, maybe they weren't really in the running. Maybe they used Carolina as a way to up the price from Illinois or other teams that were interested. So Andrew Jones over at Tar Heel Illustrated.
I will point out, before knowing anything about this situation,
Yeah,
Illinois is known for their deep pockets.
I know.
And they're known for a late ad, and they're known for a late overpay. Like, oh shit, there's nothing left. Oh boy. I better throw a real solid offer here. Overpay offer.
A strong ass offer?
Even stronger than strong.
Stronger than that? So to your point, this is what Andrew Jones highlights on Tar Heel Illustrated. This is from yesterday. And I thought Andrew, as always, does a very good job of laying out what's going on at UNC. To your point about Illinois, without even having heard the clip or what's going on, Illinois is going to overpay. You know who's not going to overpay? Carolina.
Carolina entered the picture because Stojaković can't put that out there. And it was being reported, and we got it confirmed by Andre himself. So our sources on the UNC side, yes, there is interest. Of course they would want him. They recognize that someone like that, if you can get him, you cannot pass on that. I'm paraphrasing. This is not what we were told, but it's sort of read between the lines what we were told. Mm-hmm. We were also told that money would be an issue because they were basically out of money, out of the collective. They had about $700,000 left in the collective, and that wasn't suitable for Stojaković. He's a $2.5, $3 million guy, basically. He'll be one of the higher paid portal players in the country this year. So part of the discussion with sources was, how are they going to go about accumulating, cobbling together enough cash to get him? And we were told one of two things would have to happen, or both combined. A, donors step up and say, let's get this guy now, or B, Jim Tanner would have to break the ceiling, guarantee the money, spend it, which you don't have, and then deal with Bubba Cunningham later, basically. Okay, so I'm paraphrasing, but it's not a super loose paraphrasing. Yeah. So that's kind of where they were. So basically, Illinois had the money all along. Stanford this weekend came forward with a ton of money, and Carolina didn't do anything. So our understanding, as of the last time until today, that Carolina, we had heard from Carolina that there was any interest from sources that know where Carolina stands, would have been Friday morning, and Stanford came in and everything else. So what I'm saying is, in a roundabout kind of way, is we don't think in the end Carolina was in the hunt for him.
So that was Andrew Jones, Tar Heel Illustrated, yesterday on their YouTube channel. The part that I wanted to focus on from all of that context being laid out by Andrew is what's going on behind the scenes with the Tar Heels and money. Okay. And people are going to focus on the $700,000 left in the collective for their roster. And the simple solution is, well, why don't you just go out and get more money? Well, I'm not a smart man, Joe, but I can connect some things from time to time. And I'm afraid that Hubert Davis entered this offseason in the similar position to Kevin Keatts at NC State last year, even after an ACC championship and even after a Final Four run. Essentially, they hit the point of, hey, man, love you, but in terms of giving you more money, we're not going to throw good money after bad, so to speak, or bad money after good, however the phrase goes. That essentially they're like, hey, man, here's what you got. Deal with it. Coach him up. We'll see what happens. Essentially, he's entered the Keats zone when it comes to the boosters. Herb Sendek zone, we've retired that one.
Tired.
It's retired. Herb zone it's time to update a new zone. Herb zone out the window. Hubert is in the Keats zone when it comes to this money stuff. And that is interesting. And it's going to set up for a very telling season for Hubert Davis and the Tar Heels and his future.
Just to play devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
I think Andre, and again, this is me watching him play. Sure. 2-3 games.
Sure.
First of all, number that jumps out to me, he shot 30% from three.
Okay.
I think Andrej Stojaković is a classic good numbers on a bad team guy. So I'm going to give Jim Tanner and Buzz Peterson, if he's the shadow guy, credit for looking at a guy and going, I'm going to give you $3 million to come and be what for us? Because I'm not sure he comes in and averages 18 points a game for Carolina next year.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think there is an element to this of, I think, understanding price points and values. When you're desperate, and maybe Illinois is desperate, I don't know, but also remember Illinois is in the Big Ten and has a lot more money than the University of North Carolina.
Yeah.
Which is why the University of North Carolina will be in the Big Ten in 2031 with Duke. End of story. But I think I'm going to give them credit, Jim Tanner in particular, of saying, okay, here's how we set up a structure.
Mm-hmm.
If you've ever been over to a coach's or GM's office, they have a board. It's actually covered up.
Yeah.
They cover it up.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I love it.
Yeah.
It's like my favorite thing.
Right.
And it's their depth chart for the next 5 years or 10 years, however long you want to do it. You know, I've seen them. I've seen them in football. I've seen them in hockey.
Mm-hmm.
I love them. They're like a real life spreadsheet, you know? And so you look at that and you go, all right, again, is he a good stats, bad team guy? It happens a lot.
It happens
basketball.
a lot. You're right.
In basketball.
You're right.
And again, that number stands out to me, 30%, you know, from three. If you're that guy in college, and I know his dad was that guy,
but
you know what I mean?
However, you're coming at this from a very practical, pragmatic way.
I'm giving them
budgeting.
I'm playing the devil's advocate to give them
I agree with
the benefit of the doubt of that. I think they actually have their shit together this offseason and how they want to put the team together and how they have put the team together.
Perhaps.
Okay.
Perhaps.
I'm not saying I'm right.
No. And I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm saying that there's a lot riding on this offseason.
Yes.
And
I think there's no doubt this is a make or break off season for the University of North Carolina.
Make or break off season. And while I give Hubert Davis a lot of credit for sticking to his principles, like we are not going to break the bank. We're not going to do this. I have a particular way I want to go about this. That's great. But it makes me wonder, are you utilizing all of the things that are there for you at North Carolina? to compete?
Sure.
That's my question.
I'm not trying to shit on this kid either, by the way.
But you will.
Here's another thing. I don't give a shit how long this league lasts or how long it was.
Yeah.
How you play against Duke and Carolina matters.
And
it just fucking does.
And
Stojaković, 10 points against Duke, 4 of 14. Stojaković against Carolina, 3 of 13, 6 points. I'm just telling you, I know what you're saying. You're making a very valid point and a salient point. I'm just telling you, though, if I'm actually putting this thing together the right way, which I think they're trying to do, you got to look at those numbers. A, that 30% from three is a red flag. And then B, you look at, well, what'd you do against the good teams? Like, oh, cool. You scored 37 against Stanford, your old team. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
cool.
I got you.
You know what I mean? But when the lights were on, you played like shit. So I'm not paying you $3 million.
That's fair.
End of story.
That's fair. Joe, we're talking all this ACC stuff. When we talk about the ACC, it's brought to you by friends at Keller Williams Commercial. The Donnelly team, Brian and Julie, they're going to help you out with commercial real estate. We're talking warehouse space. We're talking retail fronts, office.
I was going to say any garden variety office space.
They got you.
Maybe you don't have enough room.
Contact them. TriangleNCCommercial.com or call them at 919-616-8681. I was actually asked about, the amount of room we have in the studio. It's like, hey, have you guys thought about getting a bigger space? And, my general thought was, no, it's fine. But they were more concerned about all the stuff that we have going on here. So we might need more space for that kind of stuff. A warehouse for all the tchotchkes, and we can just kind of cycle them in and out. Maybe we'll get enough of these dead jerseys of what once was like an MJ Morris or a Miko Ranton, and we have a museum exhibit.
I was going to say I have an update on the Tommy White one. The guy was like, no, I was just showing that to you. I wasn't going to give it to you. I was like, okay, I think it's fair. Listen.
Hey, look, if you show us these kind of things, we'll be like, is that for us?
Yeah,
it's just fine.
That's all.
But what we need for you, what you need, well, that's up to your needs and the Donnelly team making sure that they can address them, and they can. So contact them today at TriangleNCCommercial.com or call them directly at 919-616-8681. Sticking with Carolina, what if we made the whole lightning round out of Carolina?
Am I allowed to break the fourth wall and say that we talked to Steve Politi before we recorded this segment?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. I think it's because I talked to someone from New Jersey that I'm
fired up.
Got a little of my cursing game going on here.
It's whatever. Speaking of cursing, Theo Pinson went on one. So,
but this is a long.
I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'm not going to play the whole thing.
You got to give me a minute to catch my breath.
So, all right. So context always matters. Y'all know context is the most important thing about this podcast. Rashad McCants and North Carolina don't see eye to eye on things. And this has been going on for 20 years, where Rashad McCants, we're approaching the 20-year anniversary.
Longer, right?
It's been longer, but we're approaching the 20-year anniversary of the...
Yeah, it's it. We're here.
It's happened. We're here from 2025, 2005, right? And Rashad McCants has always been the black sheep of the Carolina basketball family, okay? And he has been on record multiple times about how he most famously, 15, 20 years ago, talked about how being at Carolina was like prison. He has referred to Roy Williams as the warden of said prison. He has used plantation metaphors to talk about college athletics and also specifically Carolina, right? So this has been a thing that's been going on for damn near 20 years or more between Rashad McCants and North Carolina. What I did not know is that Rashad McCants, like a lot of former athletes, they're in the podcast game these days. He's been doing stuff with Gilbert Arenas, and he's got his own thing. He's like the king of quotes on Twitter or something like that. He wears a crown when he does these appearances. It's very Rashad McCants bonkers shit. Okay. And I don't like talking about Rashad McCants because I think Rashad McCants has a lot of shit he has to work through personally to get to the right spot. And I hope he does. I hope he finds it. But of course,
you also glossed over there. I know, because you're not trying to tell the whole story.
I'm not trying to tell the whole story, but
during the AFAM, whatever Roy likes to call
the junk. The junk.
He was the one former player.
Yeah, he broke.
That came out. That was like, oh yeah, Roy drove me to the fake classes or drove me to study hall or whatever.
Yeah,
I can't even remember how preposterous the lie is.
Yeah,
their relationship soured so much that of all the pictures in the Smith Center press room, the one that was removed was of Rashad McCants.
Yeah.
Okay. And to your point about this going on for 20 years, even while he was there, remember, he was an integral part of that team. And then Roy basically had to bench him and tell him, you think you're bigger than us?
Yeah.
We're going to win this thing with or without you. So you choose.
Mm-hmm.
And he chose to come back and play. And he did. And he helped them win a national championship.
And that was a problem he had with Matt Doherty too.
But then, 10 years later, he comes out and basically tried to be like, oh yeah, he tried to be some sort of whistleblower.
And it didn't work out.
But it just never really seemed to make sense. To your point, I believe he does have mental health issues.
Mm-hmm.
I think they identified that while he was even here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's hard to take anything that he says seriously when he can't even keep track of who his coach was his freshman year at UNC.
Yeah.
Like there's just so many holes in his timeline. It just doesn't make any sense.
So he recently was on with Zach Randolph and Tony Allen. They got a podcast called Out of the Mud.
You're talking about 3 combustible. Zebo.
Yeah, man. Now, don't get me wrong. It was it was a pretty compelling watch. I watched a good chunk of it. It was a pretty compelling watch. To your point, he doesn't know which coach is which. He finally got the whole Matt Doherty, you think you're Michael Jordan, we hated Michael Jordan story. I think he finally got that one right in this particular podcast. But that's neither here nor there.
I don't know.
He went through his routine that pisses off Carolina people.
Yes.
Bottom line, Theo Pinson and Ray Felton on their podcast decided to, I think at one point they put the ether beat behind Ray Felton while he was lighting
his
teammate up. But Theo went the hardest.
No one had, bro, you have killed all your fucking relationships. You have. Nobody else take accountability for you being a fucking dickhead. That's why nobody fucking like you. That's why you're not associated with us. Oh, but wait a minute. But you said them, right? But did you show up to Carolina and try to mend your relationship this past year? Wait a minute. Oh, he didn't say that on the pod. We missed that one. You didn't tell TA and Zebo that, oh yeah, but I tried to go to Carolina this past year and mend my relationship with the program, and you was looking for Coach Williams. Newsflash, dumbass. He don't coach there no more. So why the fuck would he be there?
Damn.
Dummy, bro. You talk all that shit, but then you don't tell everybody you tried to mend your relationship, and then your dumbass didn't get invited to the reunion that everyone got celebrated. Oh, but then you was mad because the lady at the front desk didn't know who the fuck you was.
Damn.
Stupid ass nigga. Because at the end of the day, when you go to Carolina, bro, and you did something, you won a championship with a group of guys, they remember every single player from 2005. They still remember your stupid ass. But you know what they say when they say, Rashad McCants, can't stand that motherfucker. Guess what? I can't either. I think you're a hoe. I think you're stupid as hell.
Shit.
I think you're a coward. Because at the end of the day, for you to go to, if you never went to Carolina to try to mend your relationship, I would have been like, cool, he just got a beef with Carolina. That got nothing, but you trying to, and I bet you didn't tell anybody you did. And I think that shit corny as fuck. And you calling out teammates how the hell does Marvin Williams not like you? Marvin Williams is one of the best guys I've ever met in my life. And you talk shit about Sean May, one of the nicest dudes ever, don't have beef with nobody. No. And you an asshole, bruh. And you just don't take no responsibility for nothing. I don't give a fuck I wasn't on your team. But for you to disrespect guys that I fuck with and that I talk to, I take offense to that. And then you talk about my coach. Plantation? What the fuck are you talking about, bruh?
The reference there, he was talking about, Rashad referred to himself as Django, and everybody else was just, happily on the plantation. He was Django.
Look what I found that we probably should have used.
What's that? What did you find? What? That's too much?
The old sticker.
Was that too much? Is that going to get us a 1 star? I warned you.
That was the sticker.
I warned you. I warned you.
Coming up, you look for that on the album because you're like, ooh, we get one of those.
I warned you. Hey, man, the podcast is listed as explicit. Theo's just adding to it, my man. That's all. That's all.
Advisory.
Look, I thought that was great from Theo. Absolutely great from Theo. Just lay it all out there. Completely lay it all out there. And at first I was kind of like, I would say this though, going forward, guys like Rashad McCants feed off of stuff like this. And I know Theo said at the beginning of this is the last time and the only time I'm going to address it. And we're going to move on from this. Understand that Rashad is going to keep coming back.
Sure.
He's going to keep going back to that well. Because to your point, a lot of podcasts right now in that space, in the former athlete space, are telling stories.
Yeah.
That's
Which I love.
That's Theo's whole MO with Title League. I'm not saying that it's a knock. I'm simply saying that's their niche. And they do really, really well in that niche by telling old Carolina stories with old Carolina players that Carolina people will eat up every single day. It's very well done. Okay. So Rashad's going to have more opportunities to tell these stories as the space continues to grow with former players. And he's trying to get his thing going with the podcast and all that kind of stuff. And if he knows it's going to set you off like that, he's going to keep doing it because that's just the way Rashad is wired. So my only suggestion going forward, it's kind of like the Aaron Rodgers thing. It's a fire that you give oxygen to. The only way you can get that fire to go out is to stop feeding it oxygen. That's oxygen for Rashad.
Yeah, I think most people do ignore Rashad, but when you seriously can't even keep straight,
I get
you
it.
tell this whole story about how what your scoring average was and that Roy was going to bench you to make sure that your scoring average didn't get to beyond Michael Jordan's. It's like he wasn't even your coach your freshman year.
One more in the lightning round.
Topics, stack it up. Giglio's roll back it up. Well, I know what we'll do. A lightning round.
What if we made the whole lightning round out of more Carolina topics? This is a quick follow-up to our conversation about Bill Belichick and Jordon Hudson and that bizarre CBS Sunday morning interview. I told you yesterday that
You had a strong logic-based theory.
you do not include that moment with Jordon Hudson where she interrupts the interviewer for CBS saying, we're not talking about how we met. You decided as an editor and as a news team, well, this was part of it and part of Bill, so therefore we have to find a way to include it. This was our opportunity to include it. That wasn't the only outburst, or that wasn't the only time where she interrupted. And I said, now that it's out and people are consuming it, we'll find out more because people talk. People talk. Sure enough, TMZ yesterday. Nightmare during Belichick interview. Stormed off set. Exclusive. Belichick agreed to do a sit-down with CBS Mornings to promote his new book, The Art of Winning, but it turned into an L, at least PR-wise, when his 24-year-old girlfriend interrupted the interviewer, asking Bill how they met. We're told, outside of that baffling moment that made the final edit, there were numerous other instances of Hudson butting in. Even when the legendary coach was answering questions about football, she would stop and correct him about football things.
He's a hostage.
Love it. One source said Belichick only arrived at the interview with Hudson. No one from his publishing company, University of North Carolina, or any other rep with him, which was a bit of a head scratcher to CBS producers on set. At one point in the Q&A, Hudson got so heated, she stood up and walked out and wanted Bill Belichick to follow. It's unclear if the coach agreed, but the blow-up delayed the whole interview for about a half an hour. We're also told that once things calmed down, the interviewer was spooked by the whole encounter, elected to wrap things up quickly, and then ended the awkward experience. As for how the dumpster fire of the encounter got edited, we're told higher-ups at CBS and CBS News and Sports had to get involved to figure out how to salvage it. While a second interview was scheduled to go down at a later time, it was ultimately scrapped. Key highlight, the whole ordeal also isn't sitting well with Bill's employers. We're told folks at UNC are now concerned about Hudson's influence on Belichick's tenure as the head coach in Chapel Hill, especially with her essentially taking on the role of his manager. As a source put it, there's, quote, growing sense this could be a problem, become a problem. A growing sense? Yo, it's been a problem now. All right, Joe, I'm going to give you three options. How this ends. You tell me, you tell me what's going to happen by June 1. June 1, important context. That's when the buyout goes down.
I got to look at this schedule again. Gosh.
I know that you hold that schedule like it's a safety blanket. It's your lovey.
Okay.
So June 1st, three options. One of these things will happen. You tell me which one's most likely. Jordon is the reason why Bill Belichick announces, I am not going to be the head coach at North Carolina this upcoming season. And the reason why is because Jordon and UNC are in constant odds. They're butting heads all the time. There's a source of friction there. And Jordan's going to tell Bill, like I said yesterday, they don't appreciate you. They're not giving you everything that you want. you need to get out of here because they don't actually want you. And Bill's like, okay, and decides to get out of there. And who knows? Maybe Stephen Belichick ends up being the coach. Who knows where it goes from that point? But remember, the buyout goes down from 10 to 1. That's option 1. Option 2, they break up by June 1st. Bill and Jordon, they break up by June 1st. Bill is the head coach at North Carolina, but tabloids will make life in Chapel Hill hell because of the breakup. So you got to deal with all that crap and all the distraction of the breakup and all sorts of juicy stuff that I'm sure comes out of the breakup. And Bill's got to deal with it. Option 3, Jordon announces that she's pregnant with Bill's baby on June 1st. Which option are you taking?
Definitely not the last option.
I'm actually more inclined to take the last option, but I'm curious.
Not.
I am more inclined to say that she's pregnant before the start of the season.
I'm going to pass on all 3, but I'll say this. I think it's fairly clear that Bill Belichick had no other options to coach.
No.
And he wanted to coach football. And so when North Carolina was willing to give him a job back in December, he took it because he knew he had no future in the NFL.
Yeah.
I think he originally took this thinking he would take it as a showcase to get back into the NFL, to get Don Shula's record, to ride off into the sunset. That's not going to happen. He's never going to coach in the NFL again. Now, the second part of this is you never dealt with this at Capital Broadcasting.
Okay.
But ironically, you never dealt with this until we were fired. Okay. What happens is when you work for when I worked at the newspaper, they would list a job, right? And you would think, well, I'm qualified for that job, right? And then they'd bring in these outside people, they'd interview them, and you'd be like, wow, that person's really they're really good, they're really smart, they're a good writer, and they could do all this stuff, right? The job, though, the description is like this big, elaborate, promise of what could be in the best case scenario, right? I think Bill Belichick came in with his 100-page Bible and gave them the best case scenario. This is what North Carolina is going to be. This is what I'm going to do for UNC. We're going to be in the playoff next year. We're going to be the 33rd NFL team. And I've seen this before. You hire the writer, you hire the best case scenario. They come in and you're looking at them and you're going, weren't you supposed to have fireworks shooting out of your ass on a 24/7 basis?
Joe.
Weren't you supposed to reinvent the business? And then you look at them and you're like, you're just a lot like everyone else in the building.
You are describing a handful of my program directors in a previous life.
Okay. So yeah, I didn't know that part of the
program directors will come in, they make all these promises. We're going to reinvent the radio wheel. We're going to do all these crazy things. And then when it comes down to the nitty gritty, all they're doing is going into their binder of radio bits. And they're like, we're going to change the clock.
Ooh.
Man, nobody's ever thought to change the clock.
We're going to take phone calls.
We're going to take the break at the top of the hour and at 26.
Not
as
20.
Opposed to going at 6 past the hour and 28.
I think
these things. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
this happens all the time.
He made big promises.
Big promises. Yep.
And I guarantee you, Carolina already regrets it because she was not part of that promises. Although I do know part of the negotiations early.
Yeah,
I do know from a very good source part of those negotiations. So they knew right away that she wanted a place in the business school.
Yes.
And I'm still fascinated to see how that ends up.
Yeah. Yeah.
To your point, is it too late for Carolina to eject on June 2nd?
I thought about putting that as an option. I don't think it's an option.
Is it too late for Carolina to eject?
They'd be too embarrassed. But by the way, all the stuff that's happening.
They're not embarrassed now.
Well, I did joke about this. Maybe they're spending $10 million on Bill Belichick to get you appreciate basketball a little bit more. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's the 4D chess that I'm not playing. That Bubba went, fine. Go ahead. Get your Bill Belichick, and then you guys can appreciate some other stuff about how we're run. No, I don't think UNC is going to move on from Bill Belichick. I just do not see that happening unless there's a scandal that happens. That could be an issue, but I think that comes down to
somebody 50 years younger than you doesn't qualify.
No, that's just the way of the world. What I'm saying is that Jordon and Bill and Jordon get into some sort of butting of heads, and some FOIA request comes out. We get like an actual scandal, or like some state law is violated, which ends up voiding the contract. I can envision that. I mean, I can put that as an option.
So Freddie Kitchens wouldn't be the Belichick.
Yeah, I know. Freddie Kitchens would be the guy. No, all I'm saying with this, and it comes to Bill Belichick and all that kind of stuff. People are like, why are you talking about this every day? I actually would make the argument that what's going on with Bill Belichick and Jordon Hudson is underreported.
I agree. I put in some FOIA requests yesterday because I think there's a financial portion of this that's being ignored. And I know the assembly has done some work on this, but the University of North Carolina, like the academic institution, is in a financial pinch.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, you're saying, oh, we're going to do all of this on the football side, quadrupling anything you've done before.
Yeah.
And I've just got to wonder for what and at what cost. And I really do think I'll keep repeating it until somebody acknowledges it over there. You're the University of North Carolina. You are the University of the people. And you've let this man and this 24-year-old woman come in and turn your school into their personal ATM.
I don't think they planned on Jordon Hudson doing that. That's the X factor in all of this.
And at some point, you have to acknowledge it and understand it and realize you've been played. Those fireworks, those rainbows, the reinvention of football that you were promised is not coming home. And you're staring at another 7-5, 8-4 year that you're pouring a lot of money into that the university could use.
Yeah, I agree with you. That was a longer lightning round than expected.
But we had it quick. It was very snappy.
Not very snappy. That's why I need a program director to come in and tell me, hey.
I don't understand. Why do you call it the lightning round? Wait a second. I'm so proud of myself for having this on hand. I can't even begin to tell you how proud of myself I am.
That would be a legitimate complaint. That would be a legitimate complaint.
No. Wait. You're telling me that the lightning round isn't fast and snappy? But the word lightning is in the name of the round.
To be fair, out of the 5 program directors I've worked with, over half of them were good. And of course, in the middle of this recording, I thought, all right, we got our Bill Belichick stuff from yesterday. We had the TMZ, et cetera, et cetera. I had one NFL insider tell me, man, this stuff is kind of bonkers right now. I go, yeah, who knows how it's going to go? Like I just laid out all those options. Okay. I just laid out those options to you. Do you want to, I'm just seeing this now in this, as we record this, because I had some people text me, yo, I'm like, what did I miss? From Nicole Auerbach on Twitter. Jordon Hudson has posted this screenshot of an email from Bill Belichick, April 10th on Instagram, accompanied by Taylor Swift's "Look at What You Made Me Do." Buddy, we've gone into Taylor Swift trending audio when it comes to updates for Bill Belichick. We have crossed the Rubicon. We have entered the Swift zone. Buddy, this never ends well when you enter the Swift zone. Not good. Not good. Nothing unleashes the power of a mid-20-something woman quite like the Taylor Swift zone. So, this is from Jordan. Look at what you made me do. Belichick. What are we emails we got here? David, me, Jaffe, Michael, Inkwell Management, Burge. Okay. I don't think this is fantastic, but it probably will hype the book, which is clearly the ongoing theme here. This is about what I expected from the media. We went through how important it was for me to put "I fucked up" in the book. And of course, that is the feature of the article, which is mostly about admitting mistakes and talking about the Super Bowl mistake. I am fine with putting mistakes in the book. I am certainly not surprised that 260 plus pages, that this is what they would highlight. Of course, the "I fucked up" is the clickbait, blah, 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 blah. We can expect...
This is an email from Bill?
This is from Bill. We can expect that the quote-unquote interviews and quote-unquote podcasts that will supposedly drive the sales will also come from similar samples. These appearances will no doubt want to focus on whatever negatives they can extract from the book and all the current events that don't have anything to do with the book, but are most relevant to their ratings, quote-unquote, and their agenda, which is not mine. That was evident when Alarad dropped the story. I don't even know what's going on here. I don't even know half of this stuff. I will say again that this is that I want this book to be presented as a look at my professional life and how I did my job on the way to, and as a leader of an organization that grew from a $500 million franchise to an $8 billion organization that played in 10 and won 6 Super Bowls over 25 years. Yada, yada, yada. Then Jordan says, full statement to be released later today. So the story does not end. Buddy, We've crossed the Rubicon when it comes to this. Would you like to revise any of your opinions on my options?
No, because you didn't give me that many good options.
You have more?
My option was UNC says thanks, but no thanks.
I'm telling you that's not an option. But who knows? I've been wrong before. Bomani was right. We could talk about this every day.
You get to. He was jealous.
He was.
Why is she putting that out?
Because she's involved in everything.
Doesn't make him look good, though.
This
That
is why,
email does not make him look good.
This is why I brought up the Taylor Swift thing, okay? When you've gone into the Swift route, you have admitted in the most plain terms possible, I already understand that she is the main character. She views herself as the main character.
Sure.
And
one of her LLCs is BB's version.
Yes.
Yes.
And she's got like 14 of them, right?
I think it's 15.
14 and 15. Shout out to David McKenzie. This just gives you more insight on how she thinks. And if there's one thing about Swiftydom, it's really about being the main character and slights and lore and all this other stuff and creating your own stuff. And she is actively creating her own story where she will make herself the main character for Bill Belichick.
I'm sure it was her Super Bowls and all her work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is
She
what
won them.
which is what I would expect out of a 24-year-old. I want to be clear. I ain't knocking it. I'm simply saying when we were in our 20s, we acted dumb. We thought we had it all figured out. Okay? We are the main character in our own story. I'm not knocking it.
I'm knocking it. Go do your own thing.
Nah, man. Nah. It's a different era. Anyway, there's your update.
Housekeeping.
And it's brought to you by Enovana. Check them out online at enovana.com. Green cleaning solutions.
If you have mess inside your mansion or trash in your cabana, get it clean with Enovana.
Got the text show. They're at the house. Customer service, thanks to Enovana.
Oh, today's Tuesday.
Today is Tuesday, every other Tuesday. But Thursday, that's what we're going to focus on. The OG birthday bash happening at Shady's in Garner, starting at 6 o'clock. Empire Eats will be the food truck. It'll be your first opportunity to taste OG Light, the champagne of podcast
I'm
beers.
so excited about this. I feel like this like legitimizes us for some reason.
Look, man, for years I've wanted like an official
I
show
know.
beer, and I ran into so much red tape. And now it's like, I don't have red tape. You know what? Dang it. We're going to do a beer. OG Light in the house, coming in at a cool 4.5%. You're going to get so white boy wasted.
I'm
It's
excited about that, too.
So hilarious. So hopefully you'll have a nice, good base with the Empire Properties food truck. We have lost track of all the things that we have to raffle off. I know people focus on the bourbon from time to time, but we have so much more than bourbon, Joe.
Yeah, I want to focus on that for a second because we have two roosters. We have the Butcher's Market gift
Mhm.
cards from them,
Mhm.
right? Color Graphic, our friends. You see these great pictures behind me. Those are a poster board. They're a 16 by 20. So thanks to Ethan Hyman at the News and Observer, I have another one of the Doran and Belichick's. I have Caleb Love's shot from the 22 Final Four. I have a great shot of Peyton Wilson scoring a touchdown against Clemson in the state win in 23, I think it was.
Mhm.
And then I also have ECU's touchdown run to win the Military Bowl this year.
These will look awesome in an office.
They really would. And they're easy to put up and all those other good things. They are really, really cool. So we have those. We have the quarter zips. This is a rowback quarter zip. This is the black one. I have the green one for you with the OG Golf Classic logo.
Mm-hmm.
I have a large and an extra large for those. I have the 2XL our color t-shirts from Basics, the Drunk Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
Two of those. We have a cooler.
That-
Really, really nice cooler. That's actually probably the best prize that we have.
That Yeti that Bennett
From
over at
our friends
Heister-
at Heister Auto Group. Sell your car to Heister Auto, HeisterAuto.com.
Holy goodness.
Yeah, it's a really nice cooler.
Good stuff.
And then, of course, I think the one thing that has really been interesting most people is the Accomplish Greatness welcome mat.
That honestly, it's like the Big Lebowski. It's really going to tie your room together.
Yes.
That welcome mat is really
And
going to.
again,
It's amazing.
It's a new one.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
it's not
the
ours.
one that's outside
Yeah,
our room.
yeah, not that. It's not that.
So
Of course, we're doing this at Shady's Thursday, 6 o'clock. Be there. Raffles, all sorts of good stuff. And more importantly, how can people get in on the raffle, Joe?
Venmo me at Giglio Joe. You'll get, for $25, you get 10 tickets. For $50, you'll get 25 tickets. For $100, you'll get 50 tickets.
Mhm.
So however level you want to go, it's there for you. Like I said, I'm trying to get a lot. I'm trying to get a little from a lot. I'm Bobby Purcell.
Bobby Purcell, this bad
There we
boy,
go.
man. Bobby Purcell, this bad boy. Of course, we don't do this at Shady's without our friends at Whitaker and Hamer. Check them out at wh.lawyer. That you might not be able to make it to the birthday bash. You can't try OG Light. No worries. It will be in a can.
For real?
For real. Working on the label right now, and it'll be available at Breeze Through. Okay. So check out breezethrough.com. You go to the game tonight, go to the Breeze Through, get your goodies, tailgate, have a good time.
You also joked about us having a cutout for the end
that,
cap.
yeah.
Glenn from Color Graphic is on there for us. I think
Amazing.
we just have to give him the picture. I think.
Yeah, we'll make it work.
Okay.
We'll make it work. And of course, our friends at Miller Lending. You want to save money so you can buy all the OG Light, right? Well, refinance. You save money that way. And the thing about Miller Lending is closing costs, not a thing. The rate is the rate. The rate fluctuates. So if the rate comes down in the future, you can refinance again and not sweat it because you didn't pay any closing cost. There's all sorts of reasons why you would refinance. Consolidation of debt, home projects. Hey, you might have refinanced for whatever reason before and the rates have come down a little bit. You want to get out of that higher rate. You want to get a little bit lower. You can do that. It's all thanks to our friends at Miller Lending. Check them out online, millerlending.com/theog, or call them at 919-447-3377.
I'm actually refinancing for both consolidate debt and home project. If there's someone out there who does sliding glass doors, hit your boy up at giglio.joe@gmail.com. We can make a trade.
Yeah.
I need some help.
Fair enough. Contact the man. You know, we had just talked about a home remodel project, right? Well, blinds are part of that. And every time we add a new corporate champion, we welcome on the owner. We welcome to OG Media LLC. And that person is Chris Woodring. Bloomin' Blinds. BloominBlinds.com is the website. Chris, thank you for jumping aboard. Full disclosure, Hockey Bro here. I don't know if we're going to get into a youth hockey discussion at some point here along the way, but we're here to talk about blinds and what you do. So for those in the audience, for those in the audience who might not know what your business is, what exactly you are doing, what is Bloomin' Blinds?
Yeah, for sure. Guys, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. And Joe, you know I'm always up for a hockey conversation. I'm always down for that. But with Bloomin' Blinds, we are a custom window treatment solution business here in the Triangle. So what that means is we cover anything window treatments. We do blinds, we do shades, we do shutters, we even do patio awnings, exterior motion screens. And there's a lot of companies out here that do those things. But the thing that really separates us from our competitors out there is the fact that we do repairs. So, you know, my ask for everybody always is go around your home, go around your place of business. If you've got a blind or a shade that isn't functioning properly, a cord snapped, it doesn't tilt open or closed anymore, those are things that you can call us for, and we can quickly take care of those in your home or in your place of business same day in most cases.
I have two dogs that know when the car is coming down the street. I don't know how they do this. But Chris, they charge into these blinds, and I'm telling you on the regular, I have to pull it out, like try to accordion them open. And like, okay, I got to take this one out. I don't know the first thing about this stuff. So I'm just hitting you up for my repairs from now on. But I'm going to be honest with you. This room darkening thing, you got me tingling a little bit as someone who does not like the light. I'm ready. Let's go.
Very, very popular. They're really, really popular right now.
So what are we talking? I mean, there's blackout shades. I get this, but this is like an actual like rolling. Like, how does this work, Chris?
Sleepy time, maybe in the morning. You don't want all that sun in your house.
Yeah. How does this work?
Yeah, absolutely. So it is a roller shade type fabric. So pretty common roller shade. However, the thing that makes it blackout is on the sides, there's a track system. So the shade actually slides into the track and then comes down and gives you complete darkness. And for the longest time, this industry really could only say room darkening, right? Because there'd always get the light creeping around the edges like you do with blinds or a shade around the side.
Right.
But now with this new true blackout type of solution out there, we could really get you pretty dark. I mean, it gets dark.
All right, you're speaking Joe's language. He is Mr. Nap for sure.
Mhm.
All right, so go to bloominblinds.com. That's Bloomin with an N. Don't put the G in
It's
there.
just an Ovies. There's no G.
Yeah, bloominblinds.com. And for OG listeners, we're going to do 10% off 10 or more when we're talking about window treatments, right?
That's correct. Yep. We're happy to do that for you guys. Absolutely.
Of course, you got to mention us. You mention OG, mention Ovies and Giglio. 10% off 10 or more of those window treatments.
And let me tell you, you might be thinking to yourself, 10. Oh boy, that seems like a lot.
No, it's not.
Buddy. When I needed you 20 years ago, Chris, because I still have scars from installing these blinds at my house when my wife and I moved in 2005. James was a month old, and Jessica's uncle came down and he helped me. And I mean, it was like you might as well have asked us to launch the shuttle. Everything is 28 windows. Some of them are custom. Some of them are
28.
Yeah. And like every single and
Well, now that I think about it, my
I have
61
no
ranch
skill.
has that. Yeah.
I have no skill.
Yeah.
I have stubbornness, but no skill. And my gosh, and only I think in the last 5 years have I been like noticing the dogs. I'm serious. They charge at these things, and I'm like, I got to get somebody real in here to fix this. Otherwise, I'm going to be in trouble.
All right, Chris, what makes you more nervous? Youth hockey tryouts or the Carolina Hurricanes trying to close out a series?
Oh, that's a good question. I think the Devils are going to come with their game. Yeah, I would say the tryouts for sure. Always nerve-wracking, right? I think the Devils are going to bring their A game tonight, so the Canes are going to have to definitely be on it for sure. I think we'll close it out.
I think Sunday broke the Devils, man. I really think that that's what broke them. And if that's what Andrej Stojaković needed to get the juices flowing for the rest of the postseason, perfecto. So I think I like the Canes' chances tonight as well.
Yeah, I do. Andrej was great, but man, that Jacob Slavin goal, holy, that was amazing.
Yeah, that was pretty good stuff. That was definitely good stuff. Maybe now people will appreciate him, not the underrated Jacob Slavin. Chris, hey man, we're excited about you jumping on board. You're going to be part of the After Dark, so you'll see the Bloomin' Blinds information when we go live on YouTube tonight. And again, contact them, bloominblinds.com. Tell them we sent you, and you'll get 10% off those 10 or more treatments. Thanks, Chris. We'll talk to you later, man. Joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline is a man uniquely positioned to talk about the Carolina Hurricanes and where they are, and the New Jersey Devils, all at the same time. He is Steve Politi, columnist, NJ.com. Steve, what's going on?
Not much, fellas. How are things in beautiful Raleigh? I miss it.
The pollen's kicking my ass, but that's typical. That's typical this time of the year. Did you, in a million years, when you were on the first season of the Carolina Hurricanes, driving to Greensboro for that inaugural year, would you have thought, hey man, that building's rocking? Rod Furthermore, 7 Stanley Cup playoff appearances. I mean, this is good. And I'm writing a column that the New Jersey Devils need to be more like the Canes.
I know,
it's true. What world are we living in, Steve?
Let me tell you, I'm surprised I'm alive at all after covering that first season. I cover those games, go to a bar in Greensboro with whatever out of town writers were there, and then drive back to Durham at like 2:30 in the morning, just like going like this on I-4. I'm lucky to be just here to witness anything after that season.
How old were you that first year you covered them?
Like 24. Yeah, I was right. I mean, you know the story, right? Like the Hurricanes come to Raleigh, and it's like I'm from New Jersey. I'm like the one person who had seen a hockey game. They're like, hey, yeah, you do it, right?
Was Steve Riley the sports editor?
Steve Riley was the sports editor at the time. Yeah. So, it was a lot of fun, though, I will tell you. I mean, I flew in some of the charter jets. The team was no good. The looks of the Canadian writers when they came in out of town and just saw like, their prized sport, and they're in this empty 21,000 seat arena in Greensboro and giving away cars. And it was nuts. It was nuts. I loved it.
Stormy almost dying.
It killed the pig. one of just the all-time moments. The one, like little things stick out. Like they had like a gun where they'd shoot hot dogs, and one time they shot a hot dog and like the wrapper came off and the buns peeled off, and just the wiener itself like scatters up to like, I mean, the very top row of it's just shit that happened. You're just like, I just could not believe that this was a professional hockey team. And to see where they are, I was there when they won the cup, and it was just amazing. They've been there a long time. So
not gonna lie, Steve, given the prices of playoff tickets, I want to see a wiener gun now at this point.
And the price of hot dogs too. I'll take one of those free hot dogs.
I'll take a hot dog that gets shot into the rafters, maybe gets a little asbestos on it and falls down to me. I'm okay with it at this point. It's free.
There you go. There you go.
Before we advance to the Devils in this series, we had a chance to catch up with Paul Maurice last year when they were up here, and it's like he didn't miss a beat. Obviously, he's a little bit older, but you got to have a Mo story for us. And were you as excited as I was, or happy for, I should say? I was genuinely happy for him last year to see him put his name on the Stanley Cup.
I was, and Mo and I were both early in our careers doing this, so I didn't know what I was doing, and I just remember a lot of times, it's just some of the questions I asked them, some of the interactions. There was one interaction we had where the Hurricane, he was talking about how there are not enough scorers for all the teams, and he's like, I think the only way you end up with enough true goal scorers on all the teams is contraction. And I remember just saying something like, "Well, don't say that out loud. They'll come here first." And he just looked at me like, I thought he's gonna punch me in the face like the snot-nosed kid in his office, talking about getting rid of the team. But yeah, I actually felt very good for him. The fact that he has managed to stay in it as long as he has, and I think it would have been sort of I don't know, just kind of sad to do it as long as he did without getting at least one taste of that thing. And I mean, at this point, he might get 2 or 3. That team's really good. So, and he handled it so well. It was kind of funny. It was really the moment when he won. It was great to watch from afar.
You wrote after the Devils' loss in Game 4 that they needed more depth, and I'm sitting here shaking my head, like, brilliant column, really enjoyed it, and I'm laughing though because 7 years in, the big knock on the Hurricanes is they don't have that top end, tippy top talent. And here comes the outsider saying, you know what the Hurricanes are really good at? Rolling out all 4 lines. And I'm like, wow, we finally did it. We finally made it.
There you go. Yeah, you want what the other team has when you're down 3-1. That's for sure. Just watching the Devils. I mean, they've had these guys. Nico Hischier is having not a good year, a great year. He's one of the best players in the league now. Jesper Bratt is great. Timo Meier has been, hit or miss, but he's been playing well lately. So they have the top talent. When you watch the teams line up and you're trying to, if you were to draft a team, finally, you might pick more Devils in the top, 8, 9 than you would pick Hurricanes. But then they bring up the 3rd and 4th line, you're like, who are these guys? I'm looking at a roster, and I think, finally, although the Devils didn't like my take that Sheldon Keefe was firing a rocket up his general manager's ass with his comments about, he literally said, well, they didn't score goals in the regular season. You expect them to score goals in the playoffs? That was kind of his comment. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's just glaring to me that they just have not surrounded these guys with the kind of nucleus you need to go deep in the playoffs.
You can also tell that the Devils know this in how they've been playing. You bring up Timo Meier, and Canes fans who are watching this right now or listening to this are probably
cursing.
It's the Arthur meme where he's got the balled up fist because you mentioned Timo Meier, or even Eric Hall to a certain extent. But Meier is the guy who's been getting the ire because of what happened with Freddie Anderson. But that's been my general takeaway of this Devils team is that in hockey in particular, because they allow these things in the postseason, you can tell when a team knows they do not have it, that they cannot skate with this other team, and the actions that happen illustrate that. And that's probably the most disappointing aspect of this series so far, is that the Devils are just doing extracurricular stuff that is like, guys, let's just get out of here already. If this is how it's going to be, then I hope tonight the series is over for the sake of everybody.
Totally, yes. And I think, if after they won Game 3, you're like, all right, they come in and get Game 4, maybe they could steal this thing. Yeah. And it would be a real accomplishment. I think they were playing for a participation trophy the moment Jack Hughes got hurt. Mm-hmm. And you could even say, before that, they were bad since the beginning of the year. Not bad. They were average since the beginning of the year. I don't think they had expectations that this team was going to go deep in the playoffs. Tom Fitzgerald did not do enough at the trade deadline, and you can make the case when Jack Hughes got hurt. All right, maybe you don't trade assets for rentals at that point.
Yeah.
I get it to a degree, but here we are. Now you're kind of looking at what they've got, and you're like, all right, if they could have gotten one round out of this year, you'd feel good about it, especially against the Hurricanes, the team that knocked them out a couple of years ago, team that seemed to own them in the playoffs. I mean, it would have been a nice accomplishment. I think you're right though. They're punching the clock.
Well, I mean, we were joking about this with Luke DeCock, columnist, News and Observer, who's been helping us out throughout the playoffs, and he'll continue to help us tonight with the After Dark. Is like, you think Martin Brodeur is sick and tired of coming to that building? Since
right.
I mean, because the last time the Devils beat the Canes in a series was 0-1. I mean, it's been all Canes since.
Yeah.
And Brodeur has seen it as the goalie, and now he's seen it, as a key guy with the Devils.
That was one of my worst deadline moments of my life. Was the Game 7? Was it 2007? I don't remember what year it was, but the Devils were up 2-1 in the third period, closing out Game 7, and I have a column written, and they looked up and they tied it. I'm like, all right, well, I'll fix it in overtime. And they get the game winner. And I'm just sitting there with 900 words of Devils advance. I just have to call the office and say, I'm sorry.
You talking about 09, the shock at the Rock?
That was it. No, 09. Yeah.
Shock at the Rock. Yeah.
What? It's funny because we're all of a certain age, and Steve in particular, growing up in New Jersey, you remember when the Devils were an absolute joke.
Oh, yeah.
And then Marty Brodeur comes around, Lou Lamoriello comes around, and they become, the kind of a shining star in the league. What do you find them to be and maybe it's the post Lou world or the post Marty as a player world? Because I find it to be slightly disconcerting. Like they're in Newark, they're not even at the Meadowlands. I don't know how much Newark has wrapped their arms around them. I'm sure they have. They don't have anything else, right? But what do we make of the Devils in 2025?
It's a great question. They don't have the identity they once did. I mean, obviously, when in those Lou years, it was all about the system, and didn't matter who the coach was, didn't matter who they were playing. It didn't matter who they had. Like, it was the same style. It was trapping hockey. It was the league hated them. It was this team off the side of the turnpike. They got no respect. The Rangers shadow, like all that stuff. That was great about the Devils in that era. I don't think they have that same identity right now. And as a franchise. Certainly, they do well in the Rock. It's a better building when 100%. They get good crowds. The fan base is still there. People have embraced Newark to a degree, but the team itself is kind of caught in the middle. And it's interesting. Like, I don't know if the team has an identity, and it looked like they did a couple of years ago when they really high-paced, offensive, fun to watch group. And the league caught up to it. And I don't think the Devils have taken a step to get that back, that kind of magic they had a couple of years ago, early in the year, when they were, looked like they were the best team in the league for a hot minute. Now they're just kind of one of the teams. They're in the middle. They're between, they're going to qualify for the playoffs, but they're not a contender. That's a tough place to be.
Although, to Giglio's point, we're talking about identities. It made me wonder, well, what the hell is New York, New Jersey sports identity at this moment in time, right? Even Aaron Judge is having an incredible start to the baseball season for the New York Yankees, hitting dingers, and it's kind of buried under a lot of the other things that are going on right now. The Giants are a hot mess. The Jets are the Jets. So, what else are we going to do about that? The Rangers are going through another change, obviously. And the Islanders are there. You mentioned Lou Lamoriello. Well, they're going through a change there. I'm just, the Knicks are the Knicks. And I'm just like, man, I mean, New York, New Jersey sports was like the center of the universe, and it kind of stirred the drink. And right now it's just kind of going through it in the tri-state area.
When I moved back up from Raleigh, I left the News and Observer in '98, and my first assignment was the World Series when the Dynasty Yankees beat them. It was pretty good,
Steve.
And it was one thing after another. I mean, it was like then the Yankees won again. They kept winning. Then the Giants got good, and they won like for that first 10 years up here was just magical. It's been tough. I mean, football season is just. Like, I hate to say, like, I don't want to go to work some days. I'm not digging ditches. It's really hard to say, I got to go to the game tonight. God damn it. It's you don't want to complain, but it's been rough.
Yeah. I mean, even the Aaron Rodgers stuff got old after a while with the Jets.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I don't know.
After a while, after the
first Pat McAfee appearance, I think most people were over it. I mean, I guess there are some people in the Jets building that are at least like, hey man, we might be going through it again, but at least we're not Bill Belichick with Jordon Hudson, right? Like there's got to be somebody in the building that's just laughing at this, right?
Beat me to the transition.
Totally. So I love, by the way, that's like, I cannot get enough of that story. And I'm sure that's America, I guess, right? Everyone must be that way. But I mean, I just injected in my veins as a Carolina alum, just watching that. I mean, I just wonder what the people who brought him to Chapel Hill. And this, I mean, I don't know, maybe UNC has changed. Back when I was there, it was very controlled, very, this is the Carolina way. We've got this, we do this thing. And now to see that she's got a 24-year-old woman who is running everything, I just love it from afar. It's remarkable.
The University of the People has been turned into Bill Belichick's personal ATM. That's basically what it is. It's
incredible. Yeah. For what? To win so you can win the, Carquare Bowl. What is it now? Get mayonnaise on your head? I guess they can make the playoff, but man.
I think that was the SMU Indiana fever dream, right? Like if Indiana can snap a finger and get in, then Carolina can do it. Yeah. If SMU with all their money can do it, well, all we have to do is put the money into it. And what better way than to hire Bill Belichick, the coach with 6 Super Bowls and the big brain on look at the big brain on Bill. He's gonna do it.
Going to be sitting there 10-10 against Wake Forest on a Thursday night next year. This is going to be something. It's going to be fun to watch.
Well, I mean, I guess the way I would look at it, like let's talk about the Jets and the Giants, right? Those are 2 teams that Bill would probably be attached to, or really any NFL team. And I'm guessing in your conversations with people around the organizations, the way Bill has gone about this with Jordon Hudson is only making it so that these owners, these front office people are going, you know what? It was probably for the best that we did not really kick the tires on Bill Belichick, because look at what we dodged.
Yeah, I understood the Jets, Steve. I never really understood the Giants. Why didn't they?
I don't know that they kicked the tires though. I think they were polite about it. I don't think John Mara wanted any of that. And that's my sense from talking to people, that it was never a real thing with the Giants.
Well, when you say they didn't want any of that, this is before we knew about the Jordon Hudson stuff.
Right. So they just didn't want
that. What was that exactly?
Right. There's a guy who was past his prime, a guy who requires total control of fealty, just everything that comes with him at this point. I just don't think John Mara wanted to hand the keys to the entire franchise over to him and say, here you go. It's just not the way they've done it. I mean, and I can totally understand why from that standpoint. It wasn't like the football results post Tom Brady were like, he made a lot of mistakes too. It didn't look like he was a good GM. So why would you want to do that? And I get it. You would love to have him just come here and coach, but he was never going to do that.
Losing record without Tom Brady.
Yeah.
You think Tom Brady shows up at Carolina? They tried to bring LT down there. You know who loves this? LT's like, wait a second, your girlfriend is 50 years younger than you? I've been arrested in a Ramsey hotel for less, Bill.
Ramsey hotel, love it. That's great. Yeah. I was thinking about that. 50. I am 52. So right now, just put that in your head. Like there's a 3-year-old. You just think about that. It just makes you go, ooh. Man,
yeah, Kelly. My wife and I were talking about that the other day. She's like, let's put it in the context of, she's like, what's the age difference? And I was like, 49. She's like, okay, put this in context. Your future girlfriend isn't even born yet. I was like, great. I love it when you put it like that. So there you go.
Yeah.
That's how you got to put it. Not even born yet.
Man.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Steve Politi, headj.com. Hey, man, we appreciate the time as always. I don't think you really missed anything. I'm assuming you didn't come down here for any of this stuff. You're not here, obviously.
I was here for the when they played them 2 years ago.
Okay.
And my impression of Raleigh is like every time I go down there's like another ring of interstates. Every time I'm there, like there's a new.
It's fair.
Yeah.
I get on the wrong road. I'm like, where am I? What is this? That's like there's a whole.
We don't have congestion pricing yet, though. So.
Oh yeah.
We're probably about 10 years away from congestion pricing at the rate that we're going. We'll catch up to New York, New Jersey eventually. Steve,
save me a townhouse somewhere. I'm coming back eventually.
Steve, appreciate the time, man.
Anytime, gents. Take it easy.
We just took a hockey break with Steve Politi. You might take a hockey break tonight. You also need, at the Canes game, you might need a lunch break or a quick dinner break, something to grab on your way to the game. Happy and Hail can do that. Get a bowl. Use the app to save money. OG25 for a one-time 25% off your order. Screen grab that. Send it to us. You might be in the running for the 20% off for life. Something Rashad McCants is not. Not for life. Now, with Happy and Hail, you can get that 20% off for life if you take a screen grab and send it to us. They got the outdoor pop-up at Smoky Hollow as well in downtown Raleigh. That's a really easy thing to go in, pay $10, get a bowl, and keep it moving, or just enjoy the day with the dog park and the pickleball. That is thanks to our friends at Happy and Hail. Speaking of hanging out outside, it is peak time to get those mosquito treatments, and that's why you got to contact bugsbite.com. Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. You can bundle and save, but you're also running out of time with the April special. It's April 29th, Joe. Call them now if you want to get that one-time offer.
Yeah, $29. Let them know. Bugsbite.com.
Also, our friends at Rowback. Joe's rocking the Rowback right now. Do I wear Rowback tonight for the game? Do I keep that thing moving?
I would hope so. They won.
When I wore the Rowback the last time, should I do it again? Do I wear a quarter zip this time?
No, I don't think that.
You mean quarter zips?
Now you're
am I getting crazy? Am I getting crazy?
It's getting crazy on me.
No, you can get crazy at Rowback right now. Go to rowback.com. They go crazy with the designs, man. They're fantastic designs.
I should point out that Ben from Rowback has offered his services to Bill Belichick. If he wants him either for a hoodie or a quarter zip, he will personally cut the sleeves off of the UNC hoodie or quarter zip. I don't recommend that.
Don't do it.
But seeing as how they can't seem to come up with any kind of gear that says North Carolina on it for him there, Ben has offered his services.
Go to rowback.com, RHOBACK.com. OG20 is the promo code. Joining us in studio on the Heister Automotive Group microphone, Matt Register, Southern
like
Smoke,
that.
out in Garland. Matt, what's going on, man? You're on my territory now.
I know I'm in Raleigh. Like, this is scary. I'm gonna tell you something. Y'all people can drive here. I felt like I got on the belt line and I felt like Robert Duvall was gonna get my ear and tell me to hit the pace car. You know, like, I mean, it is, whew, geez. But I like being in Raleigh. I do feel like Barney Fife a little bit. I don't have my tweed suit on.
Got your big city vibes?
Yeah, I got the big city vibes going.
I mean, Garland.
You have an amazing hat, though.
Yeah.
I
I know
logo.
a guy at Southern Smoke.
You know a guy who's got hats like that?
Yeah.
For those who are not familiar with Southern Smoke, and obviously while you're here, we got Getting Piggy with It, which you'll be participating in May 18th. It'll be a trophy, the Maywood Complex, and it's for the Frankie Lemon School. That's how they're raising money. You can go to frankielemonschool.org to find out more when it comes to Getting Piggy with It. Get your tickets. It's all over social media and things like that. And it's a bunch of barbecue guys getting together to raise money. And also, as I've come to find out with you barbecue guys, y'all talk.
Yeah, we like to hang out.
Y'all like to hang out.
Yeah, I mean, you know, when you get called about events and stuff, one of the first questions I ask is like, all right, who's coming?
Who all gonna be there?
Yeah. As my daughter refers to them as the barbecue friends. But you know, Jake's
we had Jake Wood on last week. You even texted me like, I didn't know Jake was gonna be on.
Yeah,
See?
Jake and I are like really good friends.
Yeah.
You know, Jake and I just did an event in Wilmington. We were in Charlotte. Oh, I can't mention Charlotte.
You can.
I mean, you can't. I know
Why can't we?
I know you're beefing.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. There's that.
So,
Whatever.
I'm
going to Charlotte. I'm going to Charlotte on Saturday to go see Weezer.
Yeah, so
I'll be there.
But yeah, Jake's a real good friend of mine. It's really funny. All the guys, you know, we're all friends. You know, so and you're in for an amazing cause. I mean, you know, so it's kind of easy. You don't have to twist my arm.
Now you're putting out, and I'm not saying this because we know each other. We've known each other for a long time, but you put out some of the best stuff that I've had, but you also make it a pain in the ass to get out in Garland, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Why you got to be like that?
You got to earn it.
Yeah. We want you to enjoy, we want you to slow down when you get off of Interstate 40.
Yeah.
You know, so, but yeah, I mean, that's home. Raleigh's not that far.
Look,
people
Eshball,
think it is.
Eshball and I have made that drive. I'm not going out there to get Brooks Brothers shirts off the
Not
rack
anymore.
not anymore since they shut that thing down out in Garland. So yeah, you got to go out and get your barbecue.
Yeah, you do. I mean,
So you're only open. You're open now. What? I can't keep track anymore. It's
so
just
Thursday
and Friday.
and then coming in about 3 weeks, it'll be Friday nights with free beer. Yeah.
Oh.
Free beer Friday nights.
Okay.
So, bring a driver.
But when do I have to get there? Because once you're out, you're out.
Yeah, but so we close when we do that, we close at 2
Okay.
and we reopen at 5. So you can either be there at 11:30 or 5:30.
Got it.
So
We're gonna have to make a trip out.
Get the full menu.
Tell me you're really good without telling me you're really good. You're open 2 days a week.
Nah, yeah, but hold on. I get a lot of flack for that. I mean, Garen's only open 1 day a week, so at John G's, but we cater a lot. I mean, we cater from basically last year we were from Richmond to Panama City Beach, Florida.
Wow.
So, and we have a big catering like wedding business and stuff. So we get our 60 hours in. It just may not be open to the public. So
now, Matt, I thought you would enjoy talking with Matt, Joe, because Matt has a very specific illness, and that is being a Tennessee guy and an NC State guy at the same time.
I am a glutton for punishment. So I lived through, I don't know what's more painful. State or the decade of dysfunction in Knoxville, where we I'll tell you this.
And Dave Dorn could have been your guy.
So people say, well, Tennessee, I'm not a new school Tennessee fan.
Okay.
I'm a Andy Kelly, AstroTurf, Neyland Tennessee fan.
Okay.
So I have lived through it, and with State, I was sitting there when Steve Suter ruined
senior night
for Phillip Rivers,
that's a poll right there.
Yeah.
Steve Suter, not the little white guy back there, but the actual name.
Hey, the little
little Maryland white guy.
And
nope,
listen,
Steve Suter.
He never ran
Burned.
a route over 5 yards. He ran a slant all day long, and they couldn't figure out how to do it. And I'm sitting in section 210 screaming, they're getting ready to throw a slant. I mean, pay me $1 million bucks. I mean, just sit a linebacker outside and just step in the line.
How'd you do last September when they played?
That was I had tickets. I was going to wear orange, but I was going to sit in the Wolfpack Club section, but actually couldn't go. Had a big event, so
saved.
Yeah, saved. But I mean, I watch a lot of football on an iPad. I tell people one of my favorite Tennessee moments was several years ago when they beat Alabama. I was watching on the hood of a 2003 Suburban on an iPad. A wedding was going on, and I looked at my staff and I was like, listen, there's a chance this could happen, and y'all got to take it from here because your boy's out. But I mean, when it comes down to it, Tennessee State, I've got orange on.
Okay. I was gonna say, I could easily see you being a Tennessee football fan and a State basketball fan.
No, I'm not an East Carolina person where I pull for Carolina during basketball. No, I'm taking a shot.
Yeah.
East Carolina fan.
I
No,
see that.
absolutely not. I want State to win. But if you had to twist my arm right now, would I take a national championship in basketball for State or a Tennessee football national championship? I love the Pac, but I gotta have a national championship in Knoxville.
One's more realistic than the other. I went to my first game at Neyland Stadium this year, which was enjoyable and quite an experience. It was a night game. So that was a lot of fun. Weird deal though. The campus, like the parking, you think there would be this amazing tailgate. I ended up at
G10.
I ended up at the parking deck.
Okay,
where the guy on whatever that is on the top level
G10.
has the bar.
Yes.
and you got to buy the bracelet.
That's one of the one of the big concerns there.
Whoa. Pause. This is a public tailgate that you need a wristband for?
It's not
yeah,
public.
to get
I mean,
in,
it is.
to get into G10. Like G10 is one of those legendary tailgate places.
Gotcha.
And that's
I
a
told
big
you about this.
I don't remember. No, you
They
don't tell me about
they
the
have
rooftop.
two bars set up,
Yeah.
and it's free, but you have to have the wristband. Which was $40
but
bucks.
the ticket is the NIL collective, the Tennessee club.
Yeah.
You pay $25 and it's all you can drink, all you can eat. And when we were at the A&M game last year, because SEC Nation was there, Checkerboard Neyland, and there were A&M fans
In there,
that
yeah.
had paid into the NIL collective. They're like, this is a deal. And I'm
Yeah.
like, no kidding. There is a big concern. They are building a entertainment complex.
They're trying to do what State is trying to do. Yeah.
From Thompson Bowling all the way to Neyland, which will be incredible and it'll be beautiful. The biggest concern is what do they do with what limited parking they have and G10? Like what happens to G10? Because I mean, it's
NC State and Tennessee football. It's like Spider-Man pointing me. Right
I'll take
now.
you this year
It
if you want
is.
to go. We'll go back.
it
Well,
is.
it depends on the youth hockey schedule. I have to see
So
how
you
that all
can
goes
carry
out.
me. I'll go.
Yeah, that'll go.
I'll be more than happy. to
OG
go.
correspondent.
All right,
Yeah, we'll make that work.
I had
I
a
could
lot
get
of
us
fun.
tickets to Tennessee, Bama in T-Town this year.
Whoa.
Okay.
Whoa.
We may need to talk about that.
Whoa.
Yeah, well, I was
I
gonna
got one more Tennessee question.
Okay.
Where do you fall on Morgan Wallen?
I love him. I love him.
I like that they play the random song at the whatever it is after the third quarter.
Oh no! So we used to play "Friends in Low Places," and everybody was like, "Why?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now they've switched over. I can't remember.
Live
what
Like I
song.
Talk.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
talk. Yeah,
And I was like, this is not a like Morgan Wallen banger, but I was like, oh, it's pretty
it's
cool.
perfect.
Is he a
It's-
Tennessee guy? I don't know anything
He
about
is.
Morgan Wallen
Yeah,
other
He
than
is. He's from
from-
East Tennessee.
He's from like
he's
from
2
somewhere
hours away from Knoxville.
I just heard he's from God's country. That's all I heard about.
Yeah,
but he's
I
a
mean-
big Tennessee fan.
Okay.
And they don't play one of his like hits.
I got you.
They play, I mean, it's still a popular song, don't get
Sure,
me
sure,
wrong.
sure, sure.
But it's like, it's very cool because they do the light show and then they play,
they've
everyone
got-
sings the
one
song.
One of the it says cheering on my volunteers.
Mhm.
It is, but yes, I like Morgan Wallen.
Okay.
I mean,
I do too.
I'm not necessarily a country guy. I pick and choose what I like, but I mean, he's a
Tennessee guy.
he's a
Tennessee
Tennessee
guy.
guy. So
It's not
you gotta like him.
So you're saying it's not one of those Carolina guy who's a country guy that actually went to another school, but he's gonna
or like
alter
canceled,
some
or a guy that canceled a full concert to go
because of
to
the
a
Final
basketball
Four.
game.
Yeah, like that sort of situation.
Yeah.
Not like that.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So
By the way, so without Nico, did the fan tax change, or is the fan tax?
no,
stay
the
the same?
fan tax
tax
is
still
still
It's
there,
still there?
baby. Yeah,
Even though
like,
they didn't go to Nico,
we
with some
had-
other people.
well, and like a lot of people were upset about losing Nico, and
You got
granted,
Joey
got a better
Aguilar,
quarterback.
though.
You got a better
You
quarterback.
got the App State guy.
so here's the thing.
Telling you, you got a better quarterback.
I think I'm so happy that we took a stand. I was texting with a buddy of mine that does a lot of the barbecue and food for the Tennessee club and feeds the team.
Mhm.
And I was glad we took a stance. Nobody is bigger than the Power T, including Josh Heupel. And his Tennessee fans are different. Like I love Heupel. I've got one of the t-shirts that says "Believe the Hype," but you go 6-5 this year and get blown out by Florida, Georgia, and Alabama.
Yeah.
You better do something with the Frazier kid. Like he better be the truth the next year.
I got you.
So
You don't need to worry about 6-5. They're gonna have a good team this
I
year.
think
I
they
really
are.
like the Aguilar kid.
I'm really
like
I think he's going to be really good in Heupel's system.
Yes.
I think that's one of the things that non-Tennessee fans don't see with Nico. One of our problems with our offense was Nico couldn't hit the long ball. And the first few weeks, it was like, oh, he's got to put more air under it. It's too flat of a ball. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. We got cats out here, that can run. Why are we not throwing the deep ball? And I mean, listen, it worked with Joe Milton.
Yeah.
I mean, so
Yeah.
I mean, and it worked with Hendon Hooker. Virginia Tech didn't want Hendon Hooker.
Yeah.
So there's a
I'm just-
common denominator.
I'm looking at the schedule
I'm just
now.
mad we couldn't converge all worlds and get Nico and Chapel Hill to play under Bill Belichick.
Oh,
Went
when I
Gio Lopez
told
instead.
my youngest, my parents are Carolina fans. My youngest is a Carolina fan. I was like, hey man, you might be getting Nico. And he was like, are you serious?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't an excitement.
Yeah.
You know,
It was like,
so he was like, oh, okay.
Although at this point, they'd rather take the Nico
which-
discourse
'cause-
versus the Jordon Hudson discourse. So
Yeah, about that. You know, I'm glad that in Knoxville they're talking about you know, losing Nico, losing Jacoby Thomas.
right.
We're actually talking about basketball recruits. I mean, you know,
You mean
baseball
like an
team-
actual athletic department?
yeah,
Oh,
like
what a
and I mean the
concept.
baseball team's pretty good.
Yeah.
You know,
you mean the national champions in baseball?
well, they're not-
Final 8 in basketball.
women's basketball, Sweet 16, softball's ranked in the top 10. I mean, some people call it everything school. I mean, they won the Microsoft Excel national championships in January.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I'm not going to say that, but I mean, some people say
Some people are saying
9:20 they play UAB.
Okay.
If I get us tickets, let's go.
9:20. I probably can make that work and get us hooked up like with food and everything.
right. It's got to be your food. So what interests you now with barbecue? Because you tinker. You're always coming out
Yeah,
with something new.
tinker.
Last time we were out there, you had some sort of like cold salad that was off the charts.
Yeah, I do get excited. Looking at me, you would not realize that I get excited about salads, but
But you did.
I
You did.
actually
It was
do.
good.
Yeah. So we are really more and more not just pit but live fire.
Okay.
Getting more and more in depth. I'm actually getting ready to start working with a pizza oven company called Gosney.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, with Piggy, we're probably going to have some of those out there. So really pushing the envelope on not necessarily like these pizza ovens. Everybody like thinks, oh, we got to cook pizza. Let's see, you know, how many things we can, you know, cook, but really, really going, you know, back to the art of just cooking everything over wood.
Mhm. And
Charcoal,
what wood are you
lime.
using?
So we use all white oak.
Okay.
And in fact, we got a delivery the other day and everybody was gone. And Matt had to stack 2 cords of wood.
Mm-hmm.
And Matt's not as young as he used to be. I'm not Bill Belichick. I can't handle like, I don't have that much energy. You know?
Neither does he.
I mean, there's
You
pills
know?
for that. But anyway.
So, you know, but that's really what we're working towards.
Yeah.
Is a lot of live fire. I mean, that's what we're doing at Piggy. We're doing these thick cut, thick cut pork chops, and we're gonna live fire them in front of everybody. You know, I like simplistic cooking. I think less is more. So I want to do something showing people, hey, you can do this in your backyard.
Yeah.
Like, kind of the Julia Child approach to barbecue. So I mean, everybody can go get a $100 Weber kettle grill and cook a thick pork chop.
Yeah.
Not overcook it. But we're doing these little sandwiches. We're gonna slice them. I'm gonna do some like onions, some brown sugar onions, you know, that we're gonna cook
nice.
in the Gosney, and then I'm gonna toast some rolls off, a little bit of funky cheese, a spicy Duke's mayo, because you know you always got to have Duke's.
Gotta have. I saw you had the neon sign in the shop.
Yeah,
So.
you know, even if they did sell out to a private equity group, I don't care. Like,
I didn't even know that happened.
don't. Oh, that was big news on Southern food. Come on,
I did not
Joe.
realize they got.
You gotta-
They got.
I was
no.
having to defend them on Facebook. Like friends are like, "Oh, they've ruined Duke's," and I'm like, "They're not changing the formula.
Yeah.
Just a different company bought."
I don't know. You said it was
That's
private.
big Gen X energy there.
said
They're
it was
getting
a
mad about selling out.
It's a private equity. It's okay. They're going to
Oh,
carry them nationwide.
Yeah, if it's
That's-
private equity, that means the shitification's on
no,
the way, my man.
no, we're not. No.
Okay.
Duke's,
Okay.
I'm gonna die on that hill, Joe.
A Duke's believer.
I'm a
All right,
Duke's
fair
believer.
enough.
So it's May 18th, Trophy Brewing on Maywood.
Yep.
Getting piggy with it. Supports the Frankie Lemon Foundation. You go to frankielemon.org. Get yourself some tickets.
Matt, we appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thank y'all. It's always nice to see you.
So when are you opening up at 5:30 again?
2 weeks. Wait, I got to make a big video. You know how everything's a promotion and like it's got to be a production. I got to make a video, 94.5 feet. We'll get y'all to come to Garland and we'll do a 94.5 feet down Warren Street.
I love
video.
it. You have a Ethernet cord?
No
connection. We have a cord if you have a connection somewhere.
No,
Well,
we
no,
don't
you
have
have
a,
you
it's
got
Garland, man.
no. You got a point of sale though that's tied into something, right?
Yeah.
You got that T1 line?
No. It's all internet. It's all off cell phone service.
Oh, so you're on that 5G?
Yeah, baby. We got 5G in Garland now. Come on.
All right. All right.
So but we could do like we'll do a little walking 94 and a half feet with
All right.
y'all.
We'll make it work.
We'd love to do that.
We'll make it work. Matt Register, Southern Smoke. Go check them out. It's great stuff. And of course, at Getting Piggy with it. Hey man, we appreciate you coming through.
Yep. Thank y'all.
Big thanks to Hometown Realty for being a corporate champion. Check them out at myhtr.com. Buy, sell with confidence. When it comes to selling your home, we've mentioned this a lot. Again, I'm going to hammer this point for so long. It's guaranteed offers are leaving money on the table. You're not maximizing the value of your home. So what you need to do is contact our friends at Hometown Realty, myhtr.com. You've bought the house or you were currently in a house you're not interested in selling. That's fine. No big deal. Regardless, you're a homeowner. You want to save money on home insurance? Our guy, Matt Davis, is going to help you out with that. InsureGarner.com or call them directly at 919-779-8277. Just start the conversation, Joe. Just a simple conversation. You don't know how much money you can save, but my hunch is you're going to save some money when you contact Matt. So just start the conversation. With the money that you save, you take those savings, you go to Two Roosters, and you buy an entire barrel of the chocolate chip carrot cake.
Today's the day. Get over there. Run. Do not walk. Because if you haven't had it yet, it's a life-changing experience.
So go to tworoosters.com today. Take advantage and have your life changed by the chocolate chip carrot cake. You know, much like we started the show, we had a lot to get into. We also have a lot of OG sports phone calls to get into. We are running out of time, even though we don't actually have hard outs or any sort of defined amount of time that we do this podcast. But you know what? Let's run through a couple of these at least.
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports Phone and curse or don't.
Of course, Sports Phone is brought to you by Nature's Relief. Check them out at naturesreliefhempstore.com. Let's go to a 919.
What's up, Joe? Long-time caller, first-time listener. Look, I know y'all are sick about the defenseman discourse and particularly McKeeshan and Burns and Orlov coming out and whatever. Here's my thing, though. I think it matters for tomorrow. McKeeshan should definitely play. Tomorrow is the time to play him. I know that there's not a game in the playoffs that you can take for granted, obviously. But when else would you feel more comfortable playing him? This is the only time we know that we're going to be up 3-1 in any series if we're, if at all. This is the only time we know we have a team on their heels. And it's a time where we have a goalie in that's been a little soft. This might instill some urgency in Kochakov, and it gets a bigger body in front of him, a more physical force. Okay. Absolutely 100% tomorrow playing Nikishin, because at least we can see what we have. And if it doesn't work out and he needs to cook a little more, that's fine. But the stakes are as minimal as they'll ever be in the playoffs tomorrow playing Nikishin.
So the Canes are on the ice right now.
Yeah. As of this recording, it's currently, what time? 11:15 right now.
So Freddie Anderson, no surprise, not on the ice today. Spencer Martin is the second goalie. I have not seen anything on Twitter to update the status of Freddie or what the actual injury was.
Mm-hmm.
Nikishin is practicing, but he's practicing as an extra. So that might answer your question. Listen, I know people, it's a shiny object. It's a whatever it is, but unless I'm not trying to be an asshole either. Unless you're up late at night watching KHL games, like how do you know anything about Nikishin and who he is other than what you know on the internet?
What you've been told.
Like For all we know, he could be Ryan Harrow. You could be mixtaped right now. We don't know that. I get it. It's a legitimate league. The KHL is a legitimate league, and he's put up legitimate numbers in a legitimate league. But I just you gotta think too a little bit like Rod.
Well, that's actually the part that I wanted to focus on. The stakes will never be lower. Y'all, it's a closeout game at home. The stakes are actually pretty high for Rod Brind'Amour to close this thing out right now. You look at the West, I think all the series out in the West are now 2-2. Good chunk of the series in the East are at 3-1. You don't want to make this thing last any longer than it needs to. That's how I would view it. So the idea that the stakes for this game are lower than any other, no, not in the playoffs, man. Not in the playoffs. And to your point, we don't really know anything about Nikishin. And in talking to some people over in that building, one person put it to me, it could take 2 practices, it could take 2 games, it could take 2 months. We just don't know yet. We had to get him here. That was the most important part. Yeah. They got him here. We'll see where it goes from there. All right, to a 919.
Hey, just calling in. This is Patty again from Holly Springs, and just wanted to say, I know you guys have had some content about Coach Wade. He's been, in the past week, he has sounded the siren at the Canes game, and last night he threw out first pitch at baseball. Just going to say Coach is 0 for 2 in these efforts. I pray that he is a better coach, recruiter, etc., than he is at performing these 2 tasks, because they were sad. I'm just going to tell you, sad. And my big concern is, in the fall with football, they usually have an alpha wolf of a game. For the love of God, if you're going to bring Coach Wade out there, please coach him up, teach him how to do this, and bring some hype, because, woof, yeah, so far, I think Corey Laviolette gave him a D+ on the siren, might give him a C- on first pitch. I mean, not building my confidence. So just wanted to call and share that, and I always enjoy the podcast, interesting takes on lots of things, and go Pack, go Canes. Hope tonight the Canes can get it done. I know that Freddie has been playing well, but still have concern for how far he can carry us through the playoffs. So again, happy Friday. Bye.
I love that call from Patty for one reason and one reason only. Will Wade, welcome to a place where they really give a shit. This ain't LSU, where they care about basketball. They've got basketball tradition there. I don't know why Shaq didn't want to be the general manager of LSU voluntarily, like he's doing for Sacramento State, but that's another issue altogether. Will Wade, if he hasn't figured it out by now, hey man,
yeah, I didn't see
eyes.
I didn't see the pitch, so I don't know. But yeah, the siren. I guess people were mad about the siren.
I don't know. It wasn't that they were mad about the siren. They were just like, dude,
unimpressed.
They were unimpressed.
The better way to say it.
Mad is not the right way to put it. It's like unimpressed. It is what it is. One more call from a 919. Figured
that wasn't me.
I figured that was the best way to close out today's podcast.
That wasn't me.
Woo! So good. So good. So good. So good. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up. We'll see you for After Dark tonight from Lenovo Center.